What's up everyone, it's your boy Infrar-Ed Scott. Welcome to the Scott Reports. Today I bring you an anime review of Bungou Stray Dogs, episode 11. Starting out with the quote of the week: should cows act up? Hit them with whatever's close at hand. Straight up taking a down south parents, grandparents mentality to crime and fiends, as we are introduced to the last member of the armed detective agency, Kenji. And this episode was a little bit different than most because the first half actually dealt with Port Mafia, while the second half was the misadventures of Atsushi and Kenji. And you know, just like I said about Joker Game, I don't know if it's just that I'm used to the flow of this series and that it doesn't even faze me anymore, or was it really just done that well? Because if we would have got an episode with the tone shift that we got this close to the finale from Bungou Stray Dogs, I would have been pissed. But I expected the comedy to come back at some point, and the comedy hit the nail on the head, because this episode was hilarious. Again, the second half was hilarious and the first half was serious, and we didn't even get Dazai this episode. He was there, but he's shown at the very end for literally about 3 or 4 seconds, just to say that he will tell the agency that he got away tomorrow as he's kicking back at the crib reading and drinking. So, without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown of this episode. It starts off with Atsushi, still contemplating and wondering if the armed detective agency is going to take Kyoka in after her being an ex-member of Port Mafia, everything that she's responsible for. And Kunikina was the only person who was against it, as we find out that everybody just loves how cute she is, as they dressed her up in a maid outfit. Everybody's fawning and taking pictures over how cute she is. Even the president is taken back by how cute she is, but he's also accepts her in for her resolve because she wants to make up for what she's done. Also, she wants to prove that she is worth something and she's not just a weapon, like how Akutagawa was making her think that she was all of her life that she's been there. So after the scene with the agency, we shift over to Port Mafia, and here we are introduced to the shadowy leader of Port Mafia, who we saw briefly in the intro. He's sitting with a little blonde-haired girl who is drawing a picture of Akutagawa with his throat slit. That's a little bit disturbing. I hope that's not her power or anything. But Akutagawa is very badly injured. After the fight with Atsushi, he has burns all over his body from the explosion. He has cracked ribs and organs and all types of things, and he's actually in a coma. However, the leader of Port Mafia says that his violent nature and his resolve is so strong that even though they failed in everything that they tried, he's still going to give him another chance because he really does appreciate the drive and his want to carry out his plans. But this also causes him to question Higuchi, who is the blonde-haired assistant of Akutagawa, saying that she may not be suitable for this job, as she doesn't display the same effect or the same drive that Akutagawa has for Port Mafia. After she's reprimanded, we also get the return of Black Lizard in this episode, as Higuchi is pretty much stealthed by Gen, who is the ninja of Black Lizard, and she's told by the leader, the older looking guy, that the boss can order them to kill her at any time and she wouldn't even know it, just like what happened to her right now. However, it is their fear and respect for Akutagawa and his power that she isn't dead yet, because if they really wanted to, they could have did it at any time and they'll have no problem of doing it. Even though she is their superior, they will take her out whenever the boss tells her to, without question about it. So she needs to be careful. While this conversation is going on, Akutagawa is actually kidnapped by some rival mob members and taken away. Once this is found out, Higuchi is going to go after Akutagawa alone, even with Black Lizard saying, that wouldn't be the best thing to do. What are you gonna do by yourself? She explains that if she goes after him alone, it'll be seen more as a personal vendetta and it won't cause any retaliation to Port Mafia. Also, she says that it's easy to get out of Port Mafia, but it's not impossible, and we know that because Dazai was actually a member of Port Mafia and he's not a part of them anymore. So this is kind of like her last stand, or maybe something she can do to get her in hot water, to get her out of Port Mafia, because the only reason why she was staying there is for Akutagawa. So she goes off on her own. She finds these people in a factory and she goes in for a little bit. She goes in with her guns and starts blazing. However, she gets fatally wounded, and as she's about to meet her end and accept her end, she is saved by Black Lizard, and the music they played when they came in was so hard. I love the soundtrack to this series. So they save her, they save Akutagawa, and again, it was out of their respect for Akutagawa, not her position, that they did all this to save her. She has a moment with Akutagawa, wakes up and notices that she's there. He actually has a soft moment as he takes her hand and he's relieved to see her. And she cries tears as well as he is now safe. And it is from here that we go into our second part of the episode, which was hilarious. This part of the episode introduces us to Kenji of the Armed Detective Agency. Now Kenji, he's pretty interesting. He looks like he may be about the same age as Atsushi. He is also from a very small town, and this kid is a savage. You know, they ask about him, about his town and how things are all the time, like how do they treat criminals there, and he says, well, where I'm from, criminals, once we apprehend them, we throw them off the cliff, which goes back to what he did to Black Lizard when they attacked him. Remember, he was just throwing them out the window. So he comes from a very strong, small town, and he's a strong character. His ability, as long as he has an empty stomach, he has superhuman strength. I mean, this kid is straight up Shizuo from Durarara strong when he's running on an empty tank. His downside though is that when he does get a full stomach, he falls asleep. So we're gonna get our episode with Atsushi once again being a tag along as they send him and Kenji into the city to find out what happened with a bombing of a car. So they make their way there. We also got the brief reappearance of the detective back from the Rampo episode who gave them the mission. So as they're going through the city, we find out that Kenji is very nice and he's very popular, as the people of the town are happy to see him. They're like, hey, our crops are doing good, thanks for bringing this meat. And they actually help him out with his quest or his mission, as he says that if you're sincere with people, people will be sincere with you. That's how he sees the world. Kunakina is worried about him going with Atsushi, as he didn't know this was happening, because this is going to be a clash of two personalities and two rookies that don't need to be out there. You have Atsushi, who's still new to the world and what they do, and you have this naive kid who is out there who thinks that as long as you're nice to people, people will be nice to you. But if you can do what this kid did, you probably wouldn't have any fear as well. I mean, he's just so naive that he finds out from one of the townspeople that it was a gang that were getting manure and they were trying to make a bomb, and that's what happened with the car. I think they were actually testing out what it can do. So he actually tracks down these people as Atsushi is scared shitless, because he says, I'll just go up to them and ask them did they do it or not. So he's like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. They're going to kill you. And he literally does that. He goes to them and asks them, hey, did you guys start this bomb? And they're like, oh no, we wouldn't do that. So Atsushi's looking like, come on, you actually believe these guys? And Kenji's like, sure, as long as you're sincere to people, people will be sincere to you. So as they're walking away, this gang of people surround them, and it's a huge amount of people, as they say, you know what, we were lying, we did do it. So Kenji goes from 0 to 100 here and just straight go in Superboy style. He is hitting them with street signs. He's picking up cars and throwing it. He is taking these people out. As we got the quote that I said from the beginning by saying, you know, when cows get out of line, you got to put them in their place. And that displays his ability to Atsushi's amazement, as Kunakina tells him, like, yes, he's freakishly strong. He's very naive. However, if he gets a full stomach, he just goes to sleep. And that took out our episode. And again, this episode was hilarious. The second half with Kenji and Atsushi just had me laughing the entire time. And then it was a nice bit to get with Akutagawa and his assistant with Port Mafia. So we got a tone from serious to funny, and it was done so well. I can't commend this series enough. I'm glad that it is getting a second season. However, I hope that we get it in the fall, even though the fall is going to be loaded, instead of having to wait maybe another year. And I can understand people probably will be a little bit upset because you expected more of an end game going into the finale, which is next week. But at the same time, it didn't show us any previews, so we don't know what we're getting. So hopefully it's going to be them going in next week, especially with them introducing Fitzgerald last week. I'm kind of pissed we didn't get back to him. So that's the review. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you guys like the video, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as I'm bringing you content almost every day right now. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. And I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. So on that note, it's your boy Infrar-Ed signing out. See you soon.